that wasn't ideal. Definitely, at least in the third period, there our roughest game here in quite a few. And the New Jersey Devils lose, what was that there with that OV power play goal at the end? 6-2 to the Washington Capitals. That one's going to feel a lot worse than the on ice really was, especially with the playoff race, especially the team it was against. That's now technically like 2 points, but they, I'm not really worried about the Capitals. But it's really that 2 points lost on gaining on Detroit, Tampa, or Philly. That really stings there. Still plenty of time, still plenty of games, but this is one with a lot of games coming up. It was what everyone kept talking about 3 and 4. We've got our 5 and 7 games as well. It is a very tightly packed schedule here coming up. But let's go ahead and talk about the game. Like I said, it's actually not probably as dire as the end result would seem. Really, it was just momentum shift and then game score effects and all that by the end. But the first period, I thought overall was pretty good. Now, if you want to argue this is a Washington Capital team, we should mostly run into the ground. Yeah, I'm not going to disagree too heavily there, but I felt like we kind of did. The only thing that was missing was the actual finishing, the scoring. But we had our chances, and Lindgren, who was one of the best, if not the best goalie through most of the start of the season, kind of found his way here again after struggling for a good solid month now. So that was super unfortunate for us, and of course, that's how it has to play out. Um, they did score first, as in the Washington Capitals, of course. Most of these videos don't even have to specify that, as we all know the first goal is going to be against us most of the time. But on that play, it was really just a defensive lapse in the sense that the whole center of the ice that we have been so good at keeping under wraps was once again kind of left open. There was the rebound and put in on the second try there by McMichael for the goal. We do come down by the end of the period to tie it up with a beautiful setup from Nemec to Holtz. Love seeing that. You guys know my thoughts on Nemec. I thought he again had a fairly solid game. But then the second goal comes in the second period. It wasn't too much else to talk about there in the first. We outplayed the Capitals, had the better of the chances, but we get out of the period 1-1. Second period comes along. Again, McMichael scores. This time, he absolutely dummies Nosek out of the game, which, that doesn't happen. That goal doesn't happen. But, forward, whatever. That wasn't great on Nosek's part, who's supposed to be our defensive forward. He doesn't put up any offense. You just being the fourth line center, the defensive guy, that's the kind of play you really don't want to see ever happen. But it was super high skilled. Give him to there. Nemec almost recovers it. Dawes does come out, which I agree was the right play, but yeah, it's a game, that's a goal, a shot. You can't let happen. Super high skilled. It's something we're used to seeing, a la Jack Hughes, Jesper Bratt, Nico even sometimes. But you, that one stung. But overall, I still felt like we won the second period. Again, outchanced them. Better shots, better chances. If not for just a magical play by McMichael, we get out of that 1-1. Probably should have been up to even maybe 3-1. I don't think we had any insane high danger chances that Lindgren had to come out and just absolutely dummy save, ridiculous save of the year candidate type stuff. That definitely didn't happen. But there was the chances. We hit a post, I think, twice. One of them might have been on the outside or hit the net. But we had our chances there in the second. And then it really did kind of fall apart there in the third. Before I move on to that, the other thing to really talk about there in the first two periods was our power play. Once again, comes up empty. The first one was fairly but that second one was so good. It was so good. Like elite looking, kind of early season looking power play and it just doesn't score. If Linger were to make any of the top saves of the game, it probably was there on that second power play. That's just kind of how it goes, I guess. I've talked about before putting Timo there in Toffoli's spot, but I completely understand. Timo is not a sniper. He is that volume shooter guy, crashing the net, physical play. I mean, he had a hit that took one of the Capitals players out of the game. He had, I thought, some really great physical play back behind the net, at least through the first two. He had a single play there in the third that I thought was decent, but, uh, you know, You want to see him get on the score sheet again here very, very soon. But, this season clearly has not gone the way Timo would want it to either for him. But then we get into the third period, and it really kind of just wheels fall off the wagon. Not right away. I still felt like it's not like we came out soft or slow or winded or anything like that. It's just once that third one went in, then the fourth one. So the third one I thought was pretty brutal, definitely very brutal. So I don't know if that was on Jack on Mercer. If I recall correctly, on the ice was Bastian, Mercer, Jack, and then it was Luke and Smith again. Smith had the guy in the corner. Luke comes all the way over. So I don't know if that's on Luke completely leaving the net front and the guy alone there as the defenseman, or if that was this new system setup where the winger and center then take over that part of the ice, which then would make that Luke play acceptable, or if he kind of was stuck between the old system and the new system and he kind of got caught in no man's land there, but he was in the passing lane. He just didn't get the pass. Again, it's one of those from the outside. I don't know what the system is calling for if that's on Luke, but if Luke is in the right spot there, then that's got to be on Mercer or Jack. Again, both of them have been playing winger, but Mercer got moved down to the fourth line with Holtz getting the promotion to the third line partway through the first in this one. And so I don't know who was technically the center on that line for that play to take those responsibilities. The closest one to it was Mercer. Jack was back out more so by the blue line, which I believe is the winger responsibility there. So if you want to say that was Mercer as the centerman, atrocious. Then he completely whiffs on his guy. Again, guys alone in the center. That was half of the goals in this one against for us. And then it becomes 3-1. Then you get the Ovi between the legs, fluff shot, then picks it up. I don't really blame anyone on that one, to be honest. That's just Ovi scoring a goal, and then he got the garbage power play goal at the end. They also had, what was it, the fifth goal was again another defensive breakdown kind of in the middle. And so I don't know if that's the defenseman or that's the center that needs to cover that middle of the ice with the third capital coming in. So, I'm still kind of adjusting to our new system as well, learning the assignments, watching the games, trying to watch breakdowns on it as well. But yeah, it's that this was for a run of games where this new system has been seemingly a godsend. It did not work, or the guys did not play it appropriately in this one. Beyond that, I think Palat had a play in the first where he did not get a clearance out of the zone. I want to call out. It did not lead to a goal against or anything, but it did lead to chances. And to me, it was almost inexcusable. That play by Palat, he had all the time and day, and he just had the softest of passes to get it out of the zone and didn't. And that very easily probably could have, should have led to a goal against. So we got a little lucky there. I think that's really going to do it. There was just the one penalty kill in this one, garbage time at the end. Yeah, that's not an excuse. You still want to and almost have to kill that off, but you don't. So if I'm going to go more individual players here, I called out Palat a little bit. Otherwise, I thought he had a pretty solid game. I thought the whole Nico line, again, has been our best line, bar none. And I thought it continued to be in this one, even if it didn't find the score sheet. We had the Jack line, again, generated some chances, but also had some against in this one overall. Jack found himself on the ice for not some good plays. I think a lot of that there was that third goal. So, they also were on the ice for the Haula goal at the end. Again, a little bit in garbage time. Great pass up the ice from Smith. Great pass from Toffoli to break Haula for really the only breakaway of the game. And great on Haula to finish. We need him to do that on that line, but it was really a little too late on that one. Third line, I thought was fantastic through the first two. Like, really, really good. Timo, I thought, almost looked vintage in a way. A lot of that was through his play, his physical play behind the net. I do think Holtz deserved the promotion to that line. But to be honest, I felt like it didn't quite find that same magic with Holtz on it. But Mercer was atrocious in this one, so I understand flipping them in this. I do think it fell off a little bit in the third, but the whole team kind of did. Even though, again, I thought it had a pretty decent, one of the better shifts in the third by the team was from that line. And then the fourth line just was atrocious. It just not good at all. So, yeah, I thought the fourth line had one of its better games in the Stadium Series, and then this was just not good, which has been a trend. Normally, it's been the top nine has been outplaying the other team so handedly that the fourth line just kind of eats some minutes and it's not that big of a deal. But this one, not so much. Defensive pairings, some yikes plays from the Smith Luke to start with the first goal against. They get switched out. I thought Siegenthaler was for his first game back. We definitely missed Marino in this one. Nemec, I think, continues to be arguably our best defenseman. Outside of maybe Marino, Hart, obviously he wasn't in this one, so I can't really comment, but I think maybe Marino's been our best defenseman with Nemec and from a consistency standpoint, but Luke still continues to look just dynamite offensively and in transition. There's just still, he's had more of the defensive, like singular laps in a game. Not really as so much of late, but this one a bit. He's also had some phenomenal defensive plays, including in this game. So I don't know if that's just, Smith not being the right guy to cover him up, and then Siegenthaler's first game back not being quite at game pace to cover Luke on the defensive side a little bit, but yeah, not the best there. And then I thought Miller was pretty much a complete non-factor, and Ball again had a fairly rough outing in this one. So that's really. Oh, I'll go here. Dawes got to save probably a couple of those. Definitely the second goal for sure, and I think that's the one that really flipped the game. The first one or the third one of them probably, but guys getting rebounds left alone pretty much completely. It was at the first, the third, the fourth. Oh no, not the fourth because that's the only goal. The fifth goal were basically all those plays, and yeah, I don't really blame him so much on the fourth or sixth goal, but the other four, you probably want him to have one, at least one of those. And again, then we still lose 5-2 at that point. So this definitely isn't on Dawes, but if I'm gonna call out guys that are doing well. I'm gonna critique guys that need a little critiquing. And so, yeah, this was a game. Maybe you want a goalie that can absolutely steal and stand on their head when you need it, and it didn't happen. I'm still on the get Markstrom Saros, one of them. Train, obviously, depending on cost, I'm not gonna ship off Nemec in a trade or anything like that. If that's what they're asking for, then you don't get a goalie. So always got to remain, even keeled, level headed, realistic. So that's gonna do it on this one. We've got a lot of games coming up here, so hopefully a lot more good to talk about as the Rangers are up next at the Rock on Thursday. Take a breather tomorrow, probably a practice, and they need it, and then get right back at it. And this game will be as if it was nothing if we win on Thursday. It would be a complete palate cleanser, mouthwash type game. So looking forward to it. I expect good things from Jack Hughes, especially going pointless in this one. He's a Ranger killer. I could see him do it again. So as always and forever, let's go Devils.